Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. Today I want to talk about a topic that I have been wanting to talk about for quite some time, and that is the physical versus digital side of purchasing your games. And the last time I really talked about digital gaming in general was back in 2015, where I try to predict when gaming will go fully digital, because other industries and other forms of entertainment and media are going fully digital, like music and even like TV shows and all that other stuff. So I'm kind of wondering when gaming will go fully digital, and I still kind of cling on to that video as to my point as to when that'll happen. So if you want to check that video out, you can do so after listening to what I have to say here in terms of the physical versus digital side of games. But yeah, this video I'll pretty much be going over the positives and negatives of physical and digital sides, and I tried my best to get as many points that I can get out from my own head as possible. So if there are some points that I did not get to, whether it's the positives or negatives on digital or physical, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. So yeah, just to go and get this out of the way, I am completely biased towards the physical side. If you guys know me and you know this channel, I'm a huge collector. I have a big bookshelf and even like a small like walk-in closet of just games and all this other stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be biased towards the physical game side, but I did pull out some negatives from that. So first, since I was on the topic of physical side, let's just go and dive into the positives. So one thing that I want to go and point out, or two things I want to point out that are extremely important, is actually owning the game. So when you physically own the game, you actually get to do what you want with the game. You get to let a friend borrow it. You get to actually resell it. Like, resale potential is there too. Like, that's the other point that I was going to make later. But yeah, actually owning the game is a huge plus for me, because when you buy a game digitally, whether you are forced to because that is the only way to purchase said game, or because it's a slightly cheaper price, you don't actually own the game. The game marketplace, wherever you purchase it from, could take the game down, and you can't purchase the game yourself anymore, or friends or other people that you may influence can't purchase the game themselves either. For example, the big example that I love to bring up when it comes to purchasing games digitally and the game kind of just disappears off of the marketplace is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. That game is really good. I loved it on the Xbox Live Arcade. It is one of my favorite games within that kind of like marketplace of games. It was also available on the PlayStation Network store, but unfortunately at some point I think they lost the license to Scott Pilgrim, so they were forced to take the game down. So what happens there? Well, everyone who purchased the game still owned the game, but people who want to buy the game, whether they've recommended it to a friend or what have you, they can't purchase the game now, which really sucks. And like games like that is a great game. Like, that is honestly, such a disappointment that the game never got a physical release in any shape or form. And now people will pretty much forget about that game. And when the game is brought up, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember playing that game. That game was really good. Or, oh man, I never got a chance to play that game because it got taken down off of the marketplace. So yeah, examples like that really do suck when games do get taken down because of, licensing issues and all this other stuff. But yeah, like, that's a huge plus for me when it comes to buying games physically, actually owning the game, and then having resale value, because I have been dabbling in eBay recently within the past year or so. So, being able to go on eBay and be like, well, I don't want this game anymore. Let me go and see what the value of it is. If it's, worth my time to go and, list it up and ship it out and do all this stuff to, resell it, I'll do it, because at some point, some games in your collection, you're going to be like, well, I don't really want this game in my collection anymore. Let me go and see what I could get for it. And, reselling it is a great way of doing that. Now, when you buy a game digitally, reselling a single game off your account is not feasible right now, which is understandable because it is a digital marketplace. So selling a used digital game doesn't really hurt its value. And then on top of that, it's kind of hard to do digital game trading or reselling and all this other stuff. So maybe down the line, maybe within the next 5 years, we'll see something like that. Who knows? But I think we are a long ways away from digital reselling of games. And then two more points that I want to go and make out that are on the positive side. They're extremely small since I'm a collector. Showing off your collection in a meaningful way. I mean, showing off my Steam library. I have a bunch of games on Steam because, they are digital exclusive games, or I bought them off of the Steam summer sale or what have you. But, it's not exactly a meaningful way for me to show off my collection to my friends or, my relatives or what have you. When I have a bookshelf of just all of these games here, they can see that I'm, a huge game collector in a way. And, obviously, when you buy games physically, you save some space on your gaming device. It's not as big of a download if you were to just buy the game digitally off of the marketplace. You could just buy the game physically, just download that day one update and install the game. Whatever you have to do, you're able to, pretty much save some space on that gaming device. So yeah, that's like a small plus if you are, limited on space for your, gaming rig, whether it's your PC or PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, what have you. Now to some of the negatives. So obviously some of these are going to coincide or pretty much be the opposite of what the positives were. So for example, I like to show off my collection, but the negative side of doing it all physically is that it does take up a lot of physical space in my room. So I do have to do some workarounds in terms of being able to have everything on the bookshelves and stuff like that, and being able to show it. And then the last little negative that I want to go and mention is that I'm pretty sure buying your games physically, most of the time, the load times are a little bit longer when it comes to disc-based games versus the digital download. I know that this was a huge thing during the Xbox 360. I think that if you were to download a game, it would pretty much speed up the load times. It wouldn't make them as long, but if you had it on a disc and you didn't, download it or whatever, the load times would be just a little bit longer. So, but yeah, those were pretty much all of the positives and negatives that I could really make out for the physical side. Like I said, if there are anything from the positives or negatives from the digital or physical side, leave them in the comment section below. So now let's get to the positives of digital games. So obviously, the games there are a lot cheaper, especially during the Steam Summer Sale. Now, when it comes to the console world, I'm pretty sure Xbox and PlayStation do have some sales for you Xbox Live Gold and your PlayStation Plus users. You're able to, get to those sales, save some money there, but, it's not as frequent as with PC because of Steam, which is a little unfair. And even third-party websites like King Quinn and G2A. God damn it, I don't know why I couldn't remember that website, but yeah, pretty much those websites as well. Like they pretty much have a lot of keys for games at a discounted price. So if it's not during a certain Steam sale, you could just go to one of those websites. I recommend King Quinn because I know G2A is a little shady and stuff like that. But go to King Quinn, purchase a digital code from there if you want cheaper games when there's not a Steam sale going on. So that is pretty cool. And then another plus side of going fully digital is not having to leave your house or wait for the game to come in the mail. It's pretty much an instant transaction. So that is really cool. I really do like that aspect, being able to pretty much once midnight hits, you're able to download the game, play it. Like I did that with Sonic Mania when it came out on the PlayStation 4 a year ago now. Like that's a little crazy. But yeah, when Sonic Mania came out, I downloaded the game because I didn't want to wait for my, limited edition to come in the mail. So what I did with that code within my limited edition, I just took that code and just sold it on eBay. That's pretty much what I did. So yeah, digital games definitely have that plus of never having to leave your home, and you're pretty much just able to download the game there and just, have it boot up instantly. So that is really cool. And then another plus side, which was a negative on the physical side, saving physical space in your room. If you don't have all that much space in your room or your apartment or what have you, going digital isn't a bad idea because you get to save on a lot of space, which is good. And then also not having to worry about breaking or losing the game or anything like that. It's all on your account, on your console. So yeah, pretty much people with like children, or you aren't exactly all that careful with your game disc or game cartridges, you don't have to worry about breaking them or losing them or anything like that. So I think that is a huge plus, especially to younger gamers, because I remember when I was younger, I used to break a lot of PS2 games by accident, because they would get scratched up or what have you. So being much older now, I actually take care of my games, but to a much younger person, taking care of games and stuff like that might not be as second nature, I guess, as natural or whatever. So that is definitely a plus to not having to worry about breaking or losing said game that you purchased. All right, so some of the negatives. You have to wait for the game to download. And to those people that have a really bad internet connection, it might be a good idea to go physical. And I remember when I was, much younger, I used to have dial-up internet. And that internet was really bad. It took a long time to get to any web page, to download anything, to upload anything. It was really bad when it came to the internet. But if you have a pretty good internet connection, going digital might not be, so bad. But to other people that are not as fortunate, probably going physical is a good idea when it comes to, you have to take into consideration not just, purchasing the game, which is instant, but you also have to download the game onto your console. So knowing whether or not your internet connection is good or not might be, some research that you want to look into. And then the next point that I have to make for the negative side is Nintendo's definition of their digital games. And what I mean by that is that Nintendo's digital games are extremely iffy, I feel. It's not necessarily attached to your account yet, I don't think, because I know that I know with the Wii U, 100%. If you broke your Wii U, you had to make a new account and they couldn't recover any of the games you downloaded, which was extremely scary to me, which is why I pretty much bought all of my games physically. Now, when it comes to, other, companies like PlayStation and Xbox, digital gaming on there is very fluid. It's all attached to your account, and you can transfer your account to another PlayStation, another Xbox, whatever, and even Steam. Steam is a lot easier because, PC is PC, right? So, but when it comes to Nintendo's digital, just keep in mind when you're going fully digital with Nintendo consoles, it's a little bit on a rocky road, I would say. And then one last negative thing is, sort of like a minor thing. All of your games can be downloaded at once. And what I mean by that is that all of your games can't be on your Xbox or your PlayStation at one time, because there's only so much space you could have on your PlayStation and your Xbox. Now, obviously, you can get, extra storage and all this other stuff, but, even then, are you actually going to play all of those games that you have downloaded? Probably not. So, it's probably just a lot easier for you to just delete said games and just, download the new ones that you're going to play. For example, for me, I think I have a 500 gigabyte PlayStation 4. So that is not a lot of space. So I find myself deleting a lot of things when I buy a new game and all this other stuff. But personally, that doesn't really affect me, because when I play my PlayStation 4, it's usually just to play a single game. So deleting certain games that I haven't played in a while is no big deal. So yeah, but those are the positives and negatives of physical and digital gaming. Now, like I said, I believe physical over digital just because owning the game is very important to me, and I like showing off my collection in a meaningful way. And then with the end of discounts like the Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked and Amazon Prime, I believe they're not doing 20% off on new released games anymore for some reason. I know Best Buy did it a while back, but now Amazon's not doing it anymore, so that kind of sucks. So, you'll pretty much be paying the same price for physical games and digital games, but it's pretty much up to a preference at this point, I feel. And paying for cheaper games digitally on PC is really, really nice. So it's all up to you, but personally I think physical is a lot better, just because actually owning the game and as a collector, showing off my collection in a meaningful way. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble for 14 minutes about physical versus digital gaming. What are some of your thoughts on this topic? Be sure to leave them in the comment section below. below, along with other points that you may have on either side of the coin. So yeah, but that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have not already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up every single Saturday. Follow my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter, where I try my best to put updates to my future videos. And yeah, I think that is about it. Thank you guys for watching this video once again, and I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.